The wind howled through the desolate streets of the small American town, whispering secrets of the past. David Carter, a former Marine, sat on his porch, staring at the horizon, his mind lost in the echoes of a war that refused to leave him. The scars on his body were nothing compared to the ones buried deep within his soul. David had enlisted in the Marine Corps at the age of 18, eager to serve his country. The year was 2003, and the United States had just entered the Iraq War. Young and full of patriotism, he believed in the cause and wanted to make a difference. The training was grueling, but nothing compared to the horrors he would face on the battlefield. His first deployment to Fallujah was a nightmare. The city was a battlefield where every shadow held an enemy, and every moment could be his last. He had lost friends, good men who had fought beside him, laughed with him, and dreamed of coming home. Each loss chipped away at his innocence, leaving behind a hardened soldier who had no choice but to push forward. One night, during a particularly brutal firefight, David's squad was ambushed. Chaos erupted as bullets rained down upon them. He remembered the searing pain in his leg when shrapnel tore through his flesh, but he kept fighting. His best friend, Corporal James Reynolds, had been beside him, covering their retreat. Just as they reached cover, an explosion rocked the ground. When David turned around, James was gone, just a lifeless body sprawled in the dirt. The memory haunted him even now. Years passed, and the war ended for most. But for David, it never truly ended. He returned home, but home didn't feel the same. The streets were quiet, the people went on with their lives, and he was expected to do the same. But how could he? He had left a part of himself in that desert, along with the friends he had lost. Sleep eluded him, and when it came, it was filled with nightmares. His wife, Sarah, tried to understand. She saw the way he flinched at loud noises, how his hands trembled when he thought no one was watching. She loved him, but love alone couldn't mend what war had broken. Their marriage strained under the weight of silence, the words he couldn't say. She begged him to seek help, but David refused. Marines didn't ask for help. They were trained to be strong, to endure. One evening, as he sat on the porch, a boy from the neighborhood approached him. "Mr. Carter, were you in the war?" the boy asked, eyes wide with curiosity. David hesitated before nodding. The boy sat beside him, full of questions about battles, weapons, and victory. But David didn't speak of victories. He spoke of sacrifice, of the friends who never came home, of the price of war that no one talked about. The boy listened, his excitement fading into solemn understanding. That night, David lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He realized that while war had taken so much from him, it had also given him something, a duty to remember, to honor those who couldn't speak for themselves. The next day, he drove to the local VA center, stepping inside for the first time. It was a small step, but it was something. Healing wouldn't come overnight. The ghosts of war would never truly leave him, but maybe, just maybe, he could learn to live with them. As he walked out of the center, the wind whispered again, but this time, it carried something different: hope.